You know, there's some things that you've experienced when you was younger that you just never forget. I remember my great-grandfather. Hello, everyone. My name's Jeff. I always forget to do this. My name's Jeff. I just did it twice. Welcome to the channel. Oh, my goodness. Let's go on with this. My great-grandfather. He was a really rough man. We always kidded about him being a gypsy because he'd just disappear for a couple months, then he would show up. And he showed up at my grandmother's house one time, and he was a man that raised kids during a hard time in life during the Great Depression. And boy, he taught me a life lesson one time about not wasting stuff. We had breakfast one morning, and my granddaddy had fixed biscuit and gravy and, sausage and all that kind of stuff. And, oh, man, I fixed me a big old plate of that biscuit and gravy and ate every bite of it. Well, I thought I wanted some more, and I did. But I didn't want as much as I put on my plate. I fixed as much as I did the first time. I think I done 2 more biscuits and gravy and a couple more pieces of sausage. And I took about 3 or 4 bites of it, and I was full. Well, I went to get up from the table with it, and he said, "Where you going with that, son?" I said, "I'm done eating." He said, "Sit down." I said, "Sir?" He said, "You sit down with that plate right there at that table." He said, "You gonna finish eating that?" And I said, "But I'm full." He said, "No, sir. You're gonna eat every bit of that right there that you put on that plate. If it takes you to bedtime tonight or breakfast tomorrow morning." He said, "We don't waste food." And I was like, okay. But he meant it too. He meant it too. I'm going to tell you, every bite of that I ate was getting bigger and bigger and bigger in my mouth. But I finished it. And I think about, when I was raising my kids, we would stop at McDonald's to get them something or run through somewhere else to get them something they wanted because they didn't like what we was going to eat. Why did we do that? Well, we did it because we wanted to have a peaceful meal as much as possible without the whining and the complaining. I guess we was a little bit soft, and we didn't want to cause a scene while we was out in public either. But I have took some of this, and if you're Gen X, you was raised this way, you ate what was on the table, and you didn't complain about it. If there was something on the table, if there was Brussels sprouts there, and you didn't want them on your plate, you just didn't put them on your plate. But you ate what was there, or you went to the cabinet and you got you a thing of cereal in a bowl, and you ate that. You just didn't complain about it. But to kind of go back to the story of my granddad, this is kind of comical right here. Me and my female cousin was spending some time in the summer at my grandmother's house, and she made some pudding. And I got me a bowl of that pudding. I got a big bowl of that pudding. My great-granddaddy wasn't there, but grandmother was, his daughter. And I took a bite of that pudding. I ain't kidding. I don't know what was wrong with it, but I remember it to this day. I can feel it. It tingled my mouth. It was something wrong. I don't know what the world was wrong with it. But anyway, I snuck out of the house. They let it out in the country. And I snuck out of the house, and I poured that pudding out beside the house. It's the foundation. Well, guess who found some of the pudding on the ground? My grandmother. My grandmother. And she asked me, she said, "Jeffrey," she said, "did you pour that pudding out there on the ground?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." In my mind, knowing my grandmother, she's going to make me go out there and eat that pudding off the ground. But there was still a big bowl of it in the refrigerator. She said, "Why'd you pour it out on the ground?" I said, "Mama," I said, "that stuff, there's something wrong with it." I said, "It'll burn your mouth. It'll make your mouth tingle." She said, "Oh, you won't do it?" And I said, "Have you tried any of it yet?" She said, "Well, no." I said, "There's still some in the refrigerator. Go try it." So she went in there and got her some of it. She took a bite of it. She pulled that bowl out of the refrigerator and handed it to me. She said, "Go pour the rest of this out. Get rid of it." She said, "What'd she do to that stuff?" I said, "I don't know. But it's awful, isn't it?" So yeah, some comical things that's happened throughout my childhood and my life and different things and lessons I've learned. But there's one thing I did learn. You put food on your plate, you better eat every bit of it. That's the reason I'm fat today, I guess. Because of my great-granddaddy. Hey, hit that like, subscribe, that share, that thumbs up button. That way you know when I post new videos. I got a lot of these kind of stories. Got some crazy ones. Y'all have a great day.